brief background before you speak to your guests as to what's transpiring there this morning.
Well, good morning, Elvis. Yes, we expect the SACP's Politburo to meet this morning, which includes the top brass of the party. Will be discussing issues and current affairs issues. And I guess top on the agenda will, of course, be this recent announcement by President Jacob Zuma. The issue was also raised yesterday at an SACP briefing in which they made it clear that they reject the intended reshuffling of cabinet. They reject the motive of the reshuffling. They also reject the intended person to replace Pravin Gordhan. And right now I'm joined by the Deputy Secretary General of the SACP. Yesterday you spoke about it, and today, well, this morning we woke up to news that indeed it has happened. President Jacob Zuma has decided to reshuffle his cabinet. Just an initial response from the SACP.
Yeah, thank you very much. Firstly, we're only starting our meeting now in about a few minutes. We'll then go into details about what should be our response. But obviously, we must express our disappointment, particularly with regard to the removal of Minister Pravin and Comrade Mcebisi. But on the basis of the feedback that he gave us, which, as we indicated, we could not agree to it. But I think what is largely worrying is the fact that he went on to do wholesale changes across the board, and I think without appropriate consultation. This is an issue that continues to worry us, that he believes that the prerogative right is his. Now, even the ANC officials, to an extent, have not been fully involved in this particular process, which is completely unacceptable. And I think that if we are in this movement together, we have to work together, we have to work collectively together. There's no decree, individual with a decree here, like Donald Trump. There's no Trumpism in this country, there's collectivism, and President Zuma has to understand that.
Well, you know, you have the Secretary General of the ANC who was doing an interview on Talk Radio today and saying that the President informed the top six about his intentions of reshuffling cabinet. They have raised their concerns and their objection to that as well. The SACP, which is of course a member of the alliance, has also raised its objection to this. And yet you have the President who still went ahead and reshuffled the cabinet. And more specifically, Pravin Gordhan has been removed from the Ministry of Finance as well as his deputy. What then does this point to in terms of the President's character within the current political sphere?
No, it's quite clear that the President is himself beholden to a series of interests that we do not know. But largely, you can't excuse the involvement or the influence of the Gupta Group in this case. And we hope that the open gates that have now been made on the Treasury should not allow for wholesale stealing of the resources there. And South African public must join hands, stand up, and protect their national assets and make sure that the Guptas should not have a leeway to loot the resources in the treasury through using state-owned enterprises where they have got huge businesses.
Are you then suggesting that the Gupta family might be behind this cabinet reshuffle?
Doesn't need a rocket scientist to understand that and to know that there's a great influence of their role in this case.
And then the other question is, what happens now going forward? You have President Jacob Zuma who is there, and you say now that the President is beholden unto himself. And I remember back in 2007, 2006, these were similar issues that were raised against then President Thabo Mbeki.
Yeah, there were different issues with President Mbeki. This time, for instance, what is similar was the issue that was raised about the center of political authority, which President Mbeki has taken to the union buildings. And there was a much more concerted effort to bring that back to the political party, the African National Congress. Now, President Zuma does exactly the same thing, betraying the light and spirit of that particular intervention in Polokwane. And I think that the ANC has to wake up and actually call him to order.
What does wake up mean? And what does calling the President into order mean? And yesterday we spoke about this. We spoke about how do you make sure that the President is held accountable. You even mentioned that if the country loses money again through decisions that have been taken by the President, there should be accountability.
Yeah, of course. That's the point that we're saying, that the ANC has to appreciate and assert itself as the leader of society, as the leader of government. Is not the President as the leader. The President is privileged by the ANC to lead the government. But it shouldn't be the other way around. And I think that what he has done now, he has proved to them that he doesn't care about their views. What he decides with whoever advises him, he pushes ahead with it. And that's quite unfortunate.
Is he still the person to head that office? Is he still the right person?
Well, of course, he's there at the moment. We have to find a mechanism to discuss that. The Politburo will discuss this matter as well.
You know, yesterday when you indicated that the president has approached you with this intelligence report, you even mentioned that you reject the intention, the motive, as well as the intended replacement. And we see that Malusi Gigaba has been appointed as the Minister of Finance. And I wonder whether that intended replacement was Malusi Gigaba, even on Monday.
No, it wasn't Malusi Gigaba. Well, it was Brian Molefe which would actually indicate that we are opposed to him. That part is fine. But the bottom line is that we did not want change there because it is the working people who are going to pay heavily for this decision.
Considering that it's not Brian Molefe and the president seems to have tried to find a balance, tried to meet the SACP halfway, he was quite clear. It seems, though, that it's quite clear that his relationship with Pravin Gordhan was never going to work going forward.
It is not about the SACP. It's not about even how he tried to reach out to us. He didn't reach out to us. And in fact, as we indicated yesterday, he doesn't have to work with comrades who bow down to him. He needs to work with comrades who will criticize him constructively, who will show him how to do things, and he can differ with them. Yes, as president takes the ultimate decision, but on the basis of differing with those comrades, he mustn't remove them. In fact, the comrades that he has removed are those that have shown that they would have differed with him in many instances. For instance, Derek Hanekom, as you know, was the man that pulled the trigger at the NEC, where he spoke about lack of confidence on him. He's a victim. It was quite clear that if he does a reshuffle, people like him will go. But it shouldn't be like that in a democratic organization, because now it sends a clear message to other NEC members that you dare differ with the president, you are out. It can't be like that. This is a democratic formation. It's not an autocracy.
If you have someone like Derek Hanekom who has raised this issue in the NEC and pushed for motion of no confidence, these are people who are removed from the ministry, but they still remain members of parliament. And then the question becomes, then, do you think that there would be a trigger towards a motion of no confidence that comes from the ANC's members in parliament to push President Jacob Zuma out of his current seat?
No, members of our movement don't work on reprisal. And I think what he has shown is that element which we should actually reject. Others should not see themselves as victims and therefore go and work out a mechanism for revenge. But they must continue to do the ANC work according to our policy, government work, and so forth. But obviously, I mean, we're all disappointed. All the people that have stopped the Gupta's programs are out. Pravin, SABC journalists who came out when they said there was no evidence. He says, I can provide some. He's a victim. And I think that this kind of mentality shows now that the Guptas are in charge. Actually, as far as I'm concerned, this is not the position of the party. The party is still to finalize its posture. As far as I'm concerned, these are Gupta changes.
Just a quick question before I let you go. You obviously, as the SACP, which has members, which are also members of the executive, some who have been retained. We have Tulas Nqesu, who has been retained as well as the Secretary General of the SACP, Dr. Bladen Zimande. What's the move right now? Should these members consider resigning, considering that the party is opposed to what the president has done?
Well, we'll put this question, as I said yesterday, we'll put it up for debate. We'll raise it in the meeting for consideration by these members, but in their own right as ANC members. They are not SACP ministers. They are ANC ministers. Of course, they are party members because of the dual membership system. So we'll raise this matter and we'll discuss it. As a consequence of that, we'll take a decision. As I indicated yesterday, the point was that individuals can make a discretion whether to leave or not, or the party can take a political position and say, we want to withdraw our members. If the party does that, it must also consider that these are ANC members in their own right. They may remain, some may choose to remain on the basis of their ANC membership. That is why this matter must come to a process of discussions, not through a process of decree, because of a feeling of a few leaders. Perhaps myself in this case, I'm inclined towards that particular direction.
Sorry, Mapaila, thank you so much for your time. I wish that I was a fly on that wall in that meeting that will be taking place today. It's quite interesting. It should be interesting what should be unfolding over the next few hours in that Politburo meeting that will be taking place here at the OR Tambo International Airport, one of the hotels here close to the OR Tambo International Airport. And of course, from now on, we have to wait and see how this unfolds politically, both within the alliance of the ANC as well as within the cabinet, the executive, and of course in Parliament. What will happen now going forward? It's back to you in studio.